Welcome back to the Fit Minute Podcast, Fitness for Real People, with your host, Gabrielle Mazar. On this week's episode, Gabrielle interviews certified clinical hypnotherapist Tracy Hemingway. She developed the Hemingway Protocol to help open blockages and find your inner wisdom and utilize the power of your subconscious mind to make it all easier and clearer. And now here's your host, personal trainer and stretch therapist, Gabrielle Mazar.
Welcome back to the Fit Minute Podcast, Fitness for Real People. I'm your host, Gabby Mazar, and on today's episode, I have Tracy Hemingway, clinical hypnotherapist. Welcome to the show today.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. So, Tracy, tell me a little bit about you as a clinical hypnotherapist and what exactly you do.
Okay. So I started out 7 years ago when I graduated from hypnotherapy school, and I wanted to get into the spiritual side. That was the whole reason I got into hypnotherapy, was to do past life regressions and get people in touch with their spirit guides, their inner selves, allowing that space of life in between lives, that inner life space. And a couple of years of doing that, and of course I get a phone call from a doctor's office, and they said, "We hear you're really good. Would you come and work with one of our patients?" And my first instinct, I told them no. And so then they called me back and said, "Could you please come and work with one of our patients?" It's a brain injury clinic. They have an office in Orlando, also one in Atlanta and one in Denver. So I started working with them. And so for the past 3 years, we've been partners working together. And I've spent the last 3 years working with people with traumatic brain injuries, concussions, professional athletes, student athletes, college athletes, all of that, and just normal people who've had that concussion that just won't heal.
Mm-hmm.
And what's amazing is as they work with the brain and I work with the mind, and when they come together, the healing is miraculous. But about 3 years ago, I had been listening to a podcast, Tim Ferriss podcast, gotta love him. And this gentleman he was interviewing said, in the future, the difference between those that are thriving and loving life and those that are sleepwalking through life is not going to be knowledge, but wisdom. Because we now hold infinite knowledge in the palm of our hand. Anything we want to know is a Google search away. But the difference between those that are really succeeding and changing the world are those that are tuned in to their intuition, their inner wisdom. And so I literally drove home and wrote a protocol. Took me about a month to put it all together. I got 25 volunteers, had them come work with me, and it's been miraculous. And I've actually incorporated it in all of my hypnotherapy. Just most people don't understand the way I'm doing it. They think it's clinical, but to me, it's about getting in touch with that innate knowledge that everyone has to heal your body, heal everything that's going on with you.
So you developed the Hemingway Protocol. Can you explain a little bit about what that is?
Absolutely. So I got 25 volunteers to come and do it with me. I have a 30-step hypnosis, step by step, of what needs to be done. Because when I graduated from hypnotherapy school, it wasn't like I just went for a month or a 3-day weekend. I went to a year-long process. It was a 500-hour training, and it took a year to complete it. So I come with a hypnosis toolbox that has all of these different tools, all of these different processes. And then I've also spent years continuing my education as well. And so I've added to these things. So I developed this protocol about getting people just more in tune with their intuition. And so my 25 volunteers, I made a survey on, what is it, chimp monkey survey, something like that, monkey survey, chimp something. And they all took it. They came in for a 2-hour session. Then they took the survey again immediately after, and then 10 days after. And the miraculous thing was 100%, 10 days after that session, could hear their intuition better, was more in tune with the way that the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, their own higher wisdom was speaking to them. And so, like I said, I've incorporated this into my clinical, but I decided I needed to really focus on this because the thing is, we're all trying to grow, change, become better at what we're doing, but are we really listening to that inner guidance that's coming to us?
So what exactly does that mean? What does it mean connecting to your intuition, and what does it mean to be in tune with it?
I think that a lot of us can pinpoint times where we got that gut reaction that said, turn left here. And your head starts saying, but wait, I always turn left up there. And you don't turn left, and then all of a sudden you get stuck in traffic for 20 minutes, which if you had turned left there, you would have been on time to wherever you were going. And your gut told you that.
Hmm.
And there's been times we've ignored it, but then there are also times we've listened to it. And we say, oh, thank goodness I had that gut feeling.
Hmm.
And getting in tune is not only about listening to your gut, because what we've seen is that our body, our emotions is how that higher wisdom talks to us. And we as Americans, we've been told to ignore our emotions. How many times have somebody said, oh, don't be angry, don't be sad, what are you laughing at? Wipe that smile off your face. Or, the classic, quit your crying or I'll give you something to cry about.
Yeah.
We've been taught to not feel.
Hmm.
And so, really, opening that up first to know how you're feeling about things is the first step. And then the second step is knowing how our gut, our heart, and our mind have different voices and they speak to us differently. And what happens when we ignore those different voices and don't allow us to feel our way through these things.
So why would it be healthy to connect to your intuition? Why should we do that at all?
So, even with our physical health, I'm sure there have been times where you're not feeling well, or you run down and you think, oh, what is going on with me? And if you're in tune, sometimes you hear it right away. And you hear, you know, those 2 glasses of wine last night, coupled with the cleaning out the garage, that's why you're feeling this way. And maybe you don't. Maybe that's not it. Maybe it's you need to call the doctor. This really needs to be something you look at. And maybe it's something completely random. Like, don't call your internist, call the neurologist. This is the person you really need to talk to. And so, on a physical aspect, there are a lot of times where we hear things and we disregard them. And we think, that's silly. Why would I do that? And then 6 months later, we're at the neurologist's office and he
Mm-hmm.
would says, should call me 6 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
So that happens physically, but it also happens to us in our relationships of we get a gut feeling or we get a heartfelt feeling that this is moving forward. And by listening and being in tune, it helps to heal our relationships.
Yeah.
And even intellectually, have you ever been taking a test and your gut just knows that that answer is B? And when you go back after, you go, am I sure it's B? And you erase it and you put C down and it was B all along.
Yeah.
And your intuition of your intellectual intuition knew immediately it was B. So it helps in our health, it helps in our emotions, our mental health, our intellectual health, our spiritual health. There are so many ways that we are being communicated with constantly, and we're ignoring it because we think we know better.
Yeah, I think I can relate that similarly to our connection with the body, because I think a lot of times we don't connect to our body, we don't understand our bodies. You're not feeling it, like when you're exercising and I say, squeeze your glutes. What does that mean? What is it? The understanding of it and feeling what your body and what it's saying to you, what it's telling you. So it's kind of similar in understanding your intuition and understanding what certain signals mean, and what certain signals mean, why do I have plantar fasciitis? Why do I have low back pain? Why, Why am I getting migraines? There's a symptom for everything. There's a reason you have this intuition. There's red flags in relationships that are giving you those intuitions. And a lot of times we do just ignore it. We do just push aside back pain. We do just push aside shoulder pain and, stomach issues, because we are just told, just it's not a big deal. It's just keep going on, tough it out, you got this. So I think we have those innate intuitions. We have that innate ability to understand our bodies and understand what our brain is telling us and understand what our gut is telling us. And over time, as we grow and age, we push it down and push it down, or we don't learn to understand those things. So we're growing and learning things or unlearning things, for sure. So how can we use our intuitions, and how can we use the Hemingway protocol to better understand our subconscious, or to use it with our subconscious?
That's a great question, because in hypnosis, that's what I'm all about. And
Right.
there's all hypnosis is self-hypnosis, but it's about getting your subconscious mind and your conscious mind working together. And you'll know when things come up, especially people with addictions, and I don't mean drug addictions and alcohol addictions. I mean those too, but we are addicted to our phones. We're addicted to chocolate chip cookies. We're addicted to relationships, and we have these things that are holding us where we are because of our addiction to them. And so we'll go with chocolate chip cookies. So conscious mind says, I don't want to eat chocolate chip cookies anymore. I know I love them, but they don't agree with me. And I know on so many levels, I shouldn't be eating chocolate chip cookies. But your subconscious mind, it knows that, well, remember when you broke up with that guy and you were so depressed and you ate like 12 chocolate chip cookies and you felt better? So your subconscious mind is over here. It's like it wants to keep you safe and comfortable. So in hypnosis, we get the subconscious mind in alignment with the conscious mind. And there's a way you can do it. It's called willpower, right? We've all done it through willpower, but luckily hypnosis is kind of like the hack, kind of just goes right in and tells you what you want to do. So conscious mind says, I'm not eating chocolate chip cookies anymore. We get subconscious on board. We're not eating chocolate chip cookies anymore. Well, then one day you have a bad day and you think, ooh, some chocolate chip cookies sound really good right now. And your subconscious goes, wait, time out. You told me we're not eating chocolate chip cookies anymore. That's when you get the beautiful gift that we're all given as humans, freedom of choice, right? You get that freedom to choose. And sometimes your conscious mind will start saying, well, today was a really bad day. I'm just going to have this chocolate chip cookie just this once. And subconscious mind says, okay, all right, you're in charge. And then you're going along and then you have another bad day, or you find a box of chocolate chip cookies in the back of the cupboard. And instead of throwing them away, your conscious goes, oh, you know what, let's just eat these. I won't buy any more. And subconscious goes, wait, time out. You said no. Well, once after 3 or 4 times, your conscious overrides subconscious mind. Subconscious mind is finally going to say, all right, never mind. We still eat chocolate chip cookies, right? So getting them in alignment will help you from doing a lot of the things we do subconsciously, because there's a lot of things. We spend 95 to 98% of our day doing the same things over and over again.
Right.
And subconsciously, we lose so much of our energy and our creative thought if every time we walked in a room, we didn't just reach for a light switch. We had to really think, how do I make this room light? Right? That would take a lot of energy if every time you walked in a room, you did that. And instead, subconsciously, you just reach for the light switch. And yet, when the light switch isn't there and you have to consciously think about what's going on here, you feel that change, right? You feel that swap. And so getting your subconscious mind, your conscious mind in alignment is really important. And that's what we do in hypnosis. And that's the quick way to do it. Like I said, there's always willpower, right? You can always just keep doing things over and forcing yourself to do it until we've gotten the subconscious aligned. Now, making our subconscious aware that we want to listen to what's going on instead of like getting that frustrated point and just saying, I'm not dealing with this, I'm going to push it down. Your subconscious says, wait, you said we were going to figure out what this frustration was about. We're going to pay attention to this because your subconscious has been really good. It spent the last 40 years taking frustration and pushing it aside, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now we're getting subconscious on board and saying, this is important. I need to listen to where my feelings are and see what's going on with this.
So, why do you have a passion for connecting people to their intuition, and what drove you to create the Hemingway Protocol in the first place?
What drove me is I truly believe that we were put on this planet to succeed, to thrive, to be the best that we are. And I lived in an area of the country a couple of years ago where everyone I knew was just sleepwalking through life. And it was so frustrating to me, who's all about growth and what's the next adventure and let's move forward and all of that. And seeing these people that want to do the same job, putting the widget on the wadget for 30 years to get their pension, to sit on the same bar stool and drink the same beer until they die. And I saw it and it baffled me because I had never really interacted with people like that. And so I truly believe that you were created cell by cell from scratch to follow your dreams, follow your passion, listen to what makes you excited about life. And then I was seeing people not listening to their intuition and their physical health was suffering, that they're diabetic. And even though their doctor says, well, it's okay to eat apple juice and graham crackers, maybe your body's saying, no, don't eat it. But we get so that these are all out of alignment and we're not even listening
Okay.
anymore to not only how we feel emotionally, how we feel physically, how we feel mentally and intellectually. Sometimes we're so confused of what's going on and we don't even know how to step out of that confusion. And so this is about getting all of these mind, heart, gut, soul, all in the same alignment, working towards your greatest joy.
So with
And that's
your,
why I do what I do.
yeah,
Because if we have a planet full of joyful people, we'll all be happier. So
yeah, oh, I definitely believe that. I mean, there are definitely some angry, unhappy people in this world, and if everybody were happy, that would be great. It would be like the Care Bears or like Teletubbies or something. I don't know. We'd all be dancing and singing, maybe. So maybe we don't want
yeah.
that. Maybe not. So yeah,
Well, but even when we struggle, if we're on the right path, those struggles are easier.
yes.
You recognize the struggle for growth. You recognize the struggle of this is the next lesson I need to learn when you're moving on the right path. When you already feel stuck and you're struggling, it's like concrete holding you where you are.
Yeah. I think you realize, I think when you are in a situation and you feel stuck, you have two choices. You can either go that path where you go in the negative and feel like an angry, bitter person, or you can say, okay, this is going to get better. I'm going to move forward. This is just a phase, because it is. Every single person in this world has struggles. Every single person. And you can look at somebody else and think, oh, I want to be that person, and they have it so good and they have it so great. But at the end of the day, that person that you're looking at struggles exactly the same as you do. maybe not the same situation, but they have struggles. They have issues. They have had a death in the family, or they have had a car accident, or they have had a loss of a job, or they have had addiction, or whatever it is. Someone else that you may look at, that you may think is perfect, or that you might think has it all together, does not. So no matter what, every single person on this planet does not have a perfect life. Not one person. So everybody's been through something. It's just all a matter of how you choose to handle it and move forward with it, and not necessarily get over it, because I guess I don't think we always get over things, but how you deal with it.
Yeah.
And
Get through it, not over it, but through it.
right, exactly. So, you know, it's that's really what it is. And you can choose to be miserable, or you can choose to be happy, is really what it is. Um,
I like
but
to say in those situations, you choose to be a victim or a student.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, and I can tell you over the past 2 years, it has been really, really rough. It is the things that have happened to me over the past 2 years. It's like, what? I mean, just the dumbest things. I've had my studio broken into twice. I lost my car to a deer in Arizona, in not rural Arizona. Like this, I'm not talking about like in the mountains. I'm talking in like a city in Arizona. I mean, just crazy. One of my teachers drove through my windows, like just the weirdest things. And it's like, what? And people are like, you just always come in here and you're smiling and happy. I don't know how you do it. It's like, it's a choice. It's a choice. I have to. I come in here, I put a smile on my face, because why? Why am I going to be in here moping around? Why? What good does it do me? What good does it do you to see me unhappy? You know, sometimes you just have to laugh about it, because it's not gonna improve my life. It's not gonna change the situation. It's not gonna miraculously make the window appear, you know. It sucks, but it doesn't fix the situation, you know.
Yeah. I actually work with a lot of my clients, and I say there's a magic word for all of that. It's called whatever.
Yeah,
And I don't want to sound like a teenager, but whatever, the window will get replaced. Yeah,
yeah.
it's all temporary.
It's just a window.
Whatever, you know, it's just a window. It will be replaced. I am not a victim to the window. I'm not allowing my emotions to be a victim to the window.
Right.
It's a window. And the same thing with the car. It's like I am not a victim to the deer. Clearly
Right.
this was
Well, I think the deer was more a victim.
exactly.
I think it
But you know,
lived. I'm going with it
I-
lived. It ran off,
hey,
so that's what I'm going
well,
with.
there you go. Well, and if it didn't, it became a part of the cycle of life, which is
Sure.
what it was intended to do anyway.
I'm not
So,
going with that one. I'm going with it lived. But
but
you know.
yeah, it's so important to not let these things stop you,
Right.
because all of those losses stacked on top of each other, and especially these last 2 years, it's been crazy. So during the pandemic last year, the doctor's office I work for, because it's not covered by insurance, it's not considered essential. So it was closed for a year because it was not essential. And so I really prayed and meditated and said, okay, I'm listening to my intuition. I need to do something to help people. And this thing kept showing up in my computer, things that was called a CPE. Most people have never even heard of it, but it's a clinical pastoral education. Now, I'm not religious by any means, but I spent the last 30 years studying world religions, and I thought I'd make a great hospital chaplain. And so I called them and I said, I want to be a hospital chaplain. I want to come to school and learn how to be a hospital chaplain during this year. And it was miraculous, because they said, well, we don't accept people who aren't affiliated with a church. And I said, I know, but I'm really good. Consider me multi-denominational because no practice scares me. It doesn't matter if they're Wiccan or atheist or agnostic. It doesn't matter. They need somebody to talk to, just like the Catholics and the Baptists.
Hmm.
And I even got waitlisted, and I just kept telling the universe, I know you want me to take this class. And so after the first class, somebody dropped out and they called me and said, are you sure you want to do this? And I said, yes. And they said, we can't ever hire you because you're not affiliated with a church. And I said, that's okay. But I spent a year in the hospital, 30 hours a week at the hospital, just listening and being there for people and holding the iPad because no visitors were allowed, holding the iPad, holding space so that families could watch their loved one die. And that was how I spent the whole year of COVID, was at the hospital doing that sort of thing and counseling with people. And the last 2 years have changed all of us
Yeah.
so profoundly. It's changed us all. And all I can do is hope that on the other side, there's a lot more light, that we're getting to those that haven't stepped into victim mode are stepping into student mode, and they're learning from all of this that's going on.
That's very brave of you. Brave is not the word, but it is also a good word. But thank you for doing that for people. That's very sweet.
Yeah.
There-
I'm here to help and to hold space and to help everybody live the best that they can, even if it's just their last couple of hours, that I can be there for whoever needs that extra touch. I'm there for everyone that needs
yeah,
it.
I think people needed that, and that yeah. So thank you. So speaking of that intuition calling you, so with your protocol, tell me a little bit more about how it works. What exactly does it do? How does it get you in tune with your intuition, and what are the steps with it?
Absolutely. So like I said, I use a very specific, it's like 30 different steps,
Hmm.
but most of it is just making people aware that universe, God, angels, energy, whatever word you want to give it, is wanting to communicate with you all the time. All the time. And people will ask me, well, do you believe in angel numbers or tarot cards or angel cards or palmistry or whatever? And I always say, whatever way you want to listen, the universe will speak to you. If you want to listen through tarot cards, great. If you want to listen through yoga movement, beautiful. Whatever way you want to listen, the universe is speaking to you. And so when I get people in my office or through via Zoom, we talk about the way they hear it, the way they feel it, the way they sense it. And we talk about those things because if you're really busy carrying around the weight of all the times you've been victimized and all of that, you can't hear it. And so sometimes we even talk about, we start with meditation. I taught meditation for 3 years. I'm starting to teach it here in St. Louis again. But we talk about meditation. And I always want to say, whoever said meditation is sitting for 20 minutes and not thinking, I just want to punch him in the throat. That is not what it is. And sometimes it's just one breath to center yourself and think, how am I feeling right now? What am I thinking right now? What's going on with me? So we talk about meditation. We talk about being aware of your feelings. We also talk about the way our feelings speak in different voices. So our gut steers us away from things. Our heart steers us towards things. And this brain, this brilliant brain that we've been taught is the end all be all, it's like the referee, okay? And so your gut all of a sudden is saying, you know what? I need to break up with this guy. This is going nowhere. He's going nowhere. This is not where I see myself 5 years from now, right? So your gut's heading that direction. And then your heart comes in with a voice. Oh, but remember that great trip we took together and I got that great Christmas present and my mom just loves him. And so your heart's talking to you in a different voice. And then your head gets involved. And your head says, listen, we got 6 more months on this lease. We're not doing anything for 6 months, right? And so all three of these are fighting with you. And you're losing sleep because gut, heart, and head are all trying to give you their input all the time. And the brilliant thing is there's one way to get them to all be quiet, and it's to make a decision. Once you make a decision, these all get in alignment and they go, oh, okay, I'm going to make a decision here. And but knowing that all three of these will talk to you. And then you know what happens as soon as you start questioning that decision, they all speak up and they go, oh, we didn't know
Yeah.
this was up for debate again. We're
Right,
going
right,
to
right.
talk about shit. So understanding that your feelings, your not only physical, but emotional and intellectual feelings, all are coming and speaking to you in different voices and heading you different directions is key. And sometimes that meditation, even that one meditative breath, to get in touch with what you're feeling can help guide you in whatever it is that you have to do, whatever decisions you need to make, whatever direction you need to go. And so there's, I use meditation tapes. We have recordings from morning and night of getting in alignment with that voice. And I make a tape with my patients because their words, what they want, is the most important thing. If somebody says to me, I'm so frustrated about all of this, and I ask them, well, how would you rather feel? Because if I say, oh, he's frustrated, he wants to feel more in control. I use my words. But if I say, you're feeling frustrated, how would you rather feel? And he's like, I want to feel empowered. I want to feel worthy. I want to feel energetic. That's how he wants to feel. I can't just assume he wants to feel more in control of things, right?
Mhm.
So I do a recording with each and every one of my patients because their words, what they want in their life is really important. And the motto of my practice, and I start this way with everybody, is I want for you what you want for you. I don't have a dog in this fight. This isn't about me. I only want for you what you want for you. And so when we work from that space and get people more in tune with what it is that they want, because most of them don't even know. You say, well, what do you want? And they don't even know what they want. And so sometimes we have to clarify that before we can even work towards what do you want. And so then my next question is, I want for you what you want for you, but do you want more?
Yeah. Well, that sounds pretty good. I think it is a great thing to connect people to intuition. I think it would really help people. Um, and I definitely think you're right. I think connecting the subconscious mind and having people to understand and to listen to their intuition and listen to their gut instead of pushing it away and not listening and just saying, "Oh, whatever," is very important. It's very important for many things, for your health, for your jobs, for life, for relationships, for anything. So, yeah, I thank you. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Is there a way you have a website that people can find you?
Yes,
Um,
HemingwayHypnosis.com.
okay. So HemingwayHypnosis.com is how people can find you. Is there anything you want to leave listeners with today?
The one thing I learned during my chaplaincy was we are not meant to do this alone. And there are people out there who really, truly do want to help you create a life that's better for you. And find those people because sometimes we surround ourselves with people who just want to take. but there really are people out there like you, Gabby.
Yeah.
You show up every day with a smile on your face, and your only intention of showing up is to help others. It's the only intention. That's why we show up every day. We aren't meant to do this alone. If you're burying yourself and trying to overcome everything on your own, there are people out there whose intentions are only to help.
Yeah, that's why we're here. And it's
That's
why
why
we
we're
do
here.
what we do every day. It's why we've chosen the path that we have, because we love what we do. You know, there's a lot of things that I could do in life to make a lot more money, believe me. But I love what I do, and I've chosen it because, you know, the success stories are the ones that feed my soul, for sure. For sure.
Yeah,
But
finding your passion and helping it work for you.
yep,
It's such a beautiful way to live your life.
yep. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Tracy, for coming on the show. I will have your website in the show notes, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm just so grateful for what you're doing
Thank
and
you.
getting the word out. So thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening today, and we will see you all next week.
Thank you so much for listening to the Fit Minute Podcast, Fitness for Real People, with your host, Gabrielle Mazar. If you would like more information on today's episode, you can find it in the show notes and on Gabrielle's website at www.destinationfitcations.com. Visit to keep an eye out for upcoming fitcations. Be sure to share the show, give this podcast a review, and subscribe so you won't miss an episode. Join us next week to hear more stories from people just like you. This has been the Fit Minute Podcast, Fitness for Real People, with Gabrielle Mazar.